What are some things, as you think it through, that make a wedding especially fun and or comfortable for you as a single person? You know, I mean, has anyone been to a wedding where it's just like dance with your significant other or
Yeah.
What has made a wedding for you as a single person particularly fun or meaningful or just feeling safe even? Well, hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of The Boundless Show. This is Lisa Anderson here with you. And we are close to finishing out May, I guess. And you know, folks, this is my favorite time of the year. If you want to send me greetings, please do, because I love it. I'm happy to chat with you about why May and June are the best. All right, here we are for our roundtable. Oh my goodness, we are smack on the front end of, if not, I feel like now people are just getting married at all weird times of the year and weird days of the week.
Yeah.
Is anyone with me? Like
Yeah.
I've been to a wedding on a Wednesday.
More common,
y'all.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk about wedding season, specifically navigating wedding season as a single person, a single adult. Because I think depending on who your friends are and kind of what subculture you're in and all this stuff, weddings can be either super chill or way off the chain, a lot of expectations, a lot of hurt feelings, let's just be honest. So we're going to unpack it all here today. We're going to name names. We're going to throw people under the bus. We're going to get crazy. I'm just here for it, okay? So I definitely have some friends that I haven't confronted on this yet. So this is your day, people. This is your day. All right, but let's talk about the present. We won't get into my past currently, but weddings, anything coming up this year, this summer, anything you're looking forward to? Mm-hmm. What are those? Even attending or ones you'll be in? What does it look like for you?
Yeah. I've got two coming up here in the next couple of months. My youngest sister is getting married at the end of this month, actually. And so we're excited about that. And I am in the wedding, so I'm one of the bridesmaids.
Okay.
But yeah, it's my youngest, the youngest of four. So the baby's getting married. And then a friend of mine here in Colorado Springs is getting married. And I'm not technically in her wedding, but she asked me to be kind of like the wedding day assistant.
Oh yeah, don't they all?
Basically just like running interference for everything that the bride doesn't need to deal with. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. And that's Megan, by the way. I didn't even introduce you guys.
Oh, yeah.
John, you'll hear John, you know, his voice.
Hey,
you'll
y'all.
Dakota's Dakota's back with us as well.
Thanks for having me.
So absolutely. Dakota, you take it. What's your wedding scenario shaping
Wedding scenario. I think I have two coming up.
Okay.
And one's a summer one, and then it's in June, so
Okay.
it's going to be held at
coming up soon?
my church, and then afterward, I think they're going to host it at a park. I don't know for sure, so I should look at that invite again.
Yes.
But that looks fun,
Oh my
and I'll actually be in the background. So, Lisa, this is my favorite part of being at this wedding. As a single, it's going to be fun to be behind the scenes running the broadcast audio for them and their family. So I'll be recording that, so then they'll have that to take home as a memory. But you know,
but
I
not
don't
the
have
park
that.
portion.
Not
just
the park.
wedding.
Yes,
Okay.
just the wedding. So.
Okay, because I'm like this outdoor business that can go off the rails with sound and all that kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah. I do
Okay.
just the ceremony part, so I'm
Okay.
excited to do that. And then finding your seat and squeezing in the pews together. So it'll be nice to have a designated seat.
Oh, that is
So,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. If there is at the reception a three-legged race, we want to hear about it. Because
Okay,
I want this to
absolutely.
be full on
Yes.
like park games and all kinds of crazy. So, John, how about you?
I went to one back in March, and
Okay.
I've got another one coming up in mid-June.
Okay.
So I've kind of been on this train where one year it will be a heavy wedding year. Like 2023, I went to 5, and I was invited to 7.
Wow.
And
Wow.
part of the reason I couldn't go to the other 2 is because literally one of them conflicted on one that I was already in on the same day.
Okay.
But this year happens to be somewhat lighter, so
Yeah.
been to one, going to another one here very soon for some good friends of mine.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Recently, I don't think I've been in one. I've attended a few, and I have one coming up this summer. But it is always nice when you can go and attend and not feel like you're going to be schlepping bags and boxes of stuff around. It's kind of nice, but yeah, cool. Okay. I did get one. pulled into one. This was not too long ago. Pulled in. Okay, I was invited to the wedding. But then it was kind of this, I chose not to be offended because I was either second or third choice for reading scripture. And I was kind of like, okay, so I wasn't first choice, so that's okay. But, you know, it was kind of like, well, Lisa, you can read and you can speak loudly, so just do it. So, yeah, but I was okay with it.
Nice.
You know, I wasn't super close to them, so it was very nice to do that. But all right, so how do you feel about wedding season? Like, what are your feelings around this? Do you feel like overall, even historically, as you think back on it, do you feel like it often is awkward? I feel like for me, wedding season is like Christmas. It is the time when all the weirdo questions come out about like, when's it your turn and what's going to happen and who, do you have anyone special and whatever. But do you feel like you're a little bit wallflower-ish or that it is awkward, or are you okay with it?
Oh, I dive head in, Lisa. I get so excited.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I love weddings. I love serving. I love helping, seeing where I can help during the wedding. So I won't be a wallflower, but I will make it a point to, oh, does catering need help? Oh, they got it, but I'll still help. And I'm like over there trying to help do. So then it's not awkward. I'm not getting those weird questions like, oh, when's it your turn? Yeah. Why is it taking so long? Like, you know, so I get really excited to jump in. And the difference is, in the food. Y'all. Man, yes. I get so excited. Usually it's super good, something I can't usually afford. So I'm chowing down on the buffets or the build your own burger bar, but it's super fancy. And so it's been super cool. So I'm excited.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love wedding season. I just think it's so fun. Like finding a new outfit to wear or getting your nails done and stuff like that. So I'm less helpful, I think, than you are, Dakota, at weddings. Like, I just love being there. And for me, I love seeing the people that I don't get to see on a regular basis, whether it's friends from college or friends I used to work with or family that I don't get to see all the time. So I kind of treat it like a little bit of a reunion, and I tend to be a little butterfly around everything and like seeing everybody and trying to catch up with people. So I love wedding season. It's a blast.
That's good. John?
I definitely enjoy it. As I've gotten older, I've learned to enjoy it more. Early 20s, there was a bit of this mentality of, oh, when's it going to be my turn? And now it's much more, man, just go and have a good time. Like, please. You're going to live this moment one time. You might as well enjoy it. I do find that my level of enjoyment sometimes can be a little contingent upon how close I am to the couple and maybe how committed they are to the Lord. So sometimes you go to weddings and you realize, man, yikes, I'm really praying for them. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's just you realize that there's a lot of warning signs that maybe they're not surrounded by good community or they're not committed in their walk with Jesus. But if they're really committed in their walk with Jesus and it's fun, there's nothing more fun than that. That is so much fun.
So to that point, let's give a couple ideas, because I think this is helpful for people who are engaged in planning a wedding, and also just for single adults listening as they maximize their own time. What are some things, as you think it through, that make a wedding especially fun and or comfortable for you as a single person? Because there are ones that could be super awkward, or they're just not fun, or it's only prioritize, you know, I mean, has anyone been to a wedding where it's just like dance with your significant other or so don't do that, people. That's so rude. But what has made a wedding for you as a single person particularly fun or meaningful, or just feeling safe even?
So there was a group of ladies from my church, my home church, and they were married, and, you know, they were probably closer to my mom's age than my age. But they were just the life of the party. And so it was these married ladies that were dragging all of us girls onto the dance floor and just having a great time. And the song that inevitably would come up at every reception was Dancing Queen by ABBA.
That's a fun one. Yes.
It's a blast. And those ladies would just rally all of us girls, whether we were married or single or not, around the bride. And we would just dance and sing at the top of our lungs to this song. And so I had some of those people that, like, it was the married ladies that were just a blast out on the dance floor. And so that made it, that just kind of broke down. And, like, didn't matter if you had a significant other. I mean, most of the time their husbands were sitting off chatting with themselves and laughing at us girls just having a great time. So that made it definitely more comfortable and just kind of made the playing a little bit more even,
Yeah,
I guess.
that's
so,
good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The dance floor is definitely, I concur. Yeah, it's pretty hard to beat the dance floor. I love getting out and dancing. I actually got called out one time by a good friend of mine who's since passed away. He noticed that I was dancing only with a group of guys at this particular wedding we went to. And he said,
Okay.
man, kids these days, you guys, it's the guys dancing with the guys and the girls dancing with the girls. You need to mix it up. And
nice.
the latest wedding I went to, I remembered his words. It was almost like he was talking to me from heaven. And I thought, okay, I didn't bring a date to this wedding, but I'm at least going to get out and dance with some groups of girls. And I'm glad I did because his influence, shout out to you, Russ. I know you're listening from heaven. I know his influence definitely carried into that situation because, I needed to hear that. That was kind of a push you out of your comfort zone type of thing.
Yeah.
But
that's good. That's good. So Dakota, obviously for you, serving makes it more
but
comfortable.
also the dance floor. I hit
Okay.
it and I get out there and the
Okay.
cha-cha slide as soon as that comes
Oh,
on.
yep.
I'm doing it. I'm doing all that. Everybody clap your hands. That's my favorite part of
Okay.
that song. So
Yep.
what I want to know though, John or Megan, if you guys have favorite songs that when they play it, you're like, I will cruise through everyone
Oh, okay.
to get
You have
to
to
the
get out
floor and dance. I'm curious because cha-cha slide, I think I do rush
Mine
out
is
there.
like whether the Cupid Shuffle or the can I say the wobble here? I don't know. Maybe some of the hip hop ones. I don't know. Okay, like some of those. Yeah.
mine is Uptown Funk.
Oh, yeah, that's
yes.
good.
Okay.
I really like that one.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah. Mine is any country line dance song
Oh,
that
okay.
just, you can just get out there to it. Usually it's like the oldies. I mean, not the oldies, but like the 90s, the good old Garth Brooks and
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Trisha Yearwoods and those kind. But yeah, it's usually those country line dances that'll get me out there.
Yeah. I think too, the reverse of that, like things that people don't do that I think are super helpful too. Like I would say I've had some pretty awkward situations with the bouquet toss, which I'm like, if they could just eliminate it, it would be so awesome. I feel like all these things that happen at receptions, and again, it's not about me, but can I make it about me for just a minute? Because you're like in a conversation with someone and then it's like 3 minutes later, now let's all move over here for this, or cake cutting and cake shoving in your face and garters and bouquet.
the money dance.
The dollar dance.
Man, yes,
I know.
I'm
Well, you
like-
can lose your salvation with that. That's not okay. That's not okay.
Oh, the dollar dance.
John's like, you will at some point, John. You'll go to a wedding. But it's like, I've told this on the show before. I actually got called out of the restroom by the DJ on the mic of like, we're waiting for Lisa for the bouquet toss, and it's like, and obviously it was at this point, I'm just like, this is going to be a hard pass because you got 14-year-old girls there diving for it and whatever. And I'm like, at some point you have to release your single friends from being part of these shenanigans.
Yep.
Yeah, I would just say, I don't know. Do you guys feel like there are other things that either have been done or not been done that are bad or good for that reason?
I just recently, a few years ago, 2022, I'd say, a friend hosted a wedding and it was themed. And this was really fun because it was Star Wars themed.
Oh my
So they walked out
my
to the theme song with Darth Vader getting them married. And at first, I didn't dress up or anything.
Yeah.
And I felt a little bit out
You
of
wanted
place.
to. Yeah.
And I was like, I should have dressed up. Everyone's carrying their lightsabers and doing all sorts of stuff. And
my
it was
word.
it was wild. And it was the first time. Yeah, it was interesting,
Wow.
to say the least.
Okay, we can't even get into the theology
Yeah.
of that. That'll be another roundtable at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say another thing that has been super helpful for me as a single person is when the bride and groom very thoughtfully orchestrate the reception, like the tables.
Yes.
Putting you with people putting you with people, maybe a couple of your friends, maybe not just having the singles table of sad people, but really mixing it up or thinking, a couple of my friends, super creative, they were like, you don't know this person, but you need to know this person. Just kind of making connections based on history or whatever, I thought was really cool. I don't know. Any other ideas?
I really like at the ceremony itself, historically it was, are you on the bride side or are you the groom side? And I always felt a little weird about that because I'm like, well, I know and love both. Like, do I have to pick? And so I've seen trends of like, don't pick a side, just pick a seat. Like, we're glad you're here, those types of things. And so I think some of that where you're not forced into picking sides, I really have appreciated that and being able to just be there to celebrate both of them, whether I know them both really well or not. It's kind of nice to just, again, not have to pick sides.
Yeah, that's cool. I do want to circle back and talk a little bit about just like spiritually and emotionally what it looks like for you guys to find joy, because I think it is, especially as believers, really for those, when we're going to weddings of fellow believers and we're witnessing a covenant and a sacrament, I mean, it really is essentially a worship service, at its heart. And so I think it is something where we shouldn't allow ourselves to be grumpy and glum filled and all this kind of stuff, because it is so much bigger than ourselves, and it's bigger even than this couple. Now, sometimes you have to fight for that because it is hard if you're in a really hard place emotionally. I mean, I went to a wedding, you guys, the morning after I went through a horrific breakup, like literally got dumped the night before. And so I had to fight for joy. And I think for me, it's been very helpful to recognize that I can be joyful and I can celebrate another person and not feel like me celebrating them is taking something away from my own joy.
Yep.
I always say that, like, it's not like the Lord is limited in like, because I gave this person a spouse, I don't have anyone for you. He's not, he's not working with some kind of weird economy of like lesser than or whatever. So that's been really helpful to me. Are there other things? What does it look like for you guys to be joyful, even in maybe a hard scenario?
I try to reminisce on Ecclesiastes 3, 1-8. For every reason, there's a season. And having that mindset of like, this is a joyous time. And I'm going to go in with a great attitude. And that's sometimes hard, right? We're still human. We're still fallible. And so to muster that up, and Lisa, thank you for sharing that, like to even muster up that the next morning and get up the courage to show up. And then you probably had people there that are like, oh, what's going on? But the reason I'm there is to celebrate these folks getting married and get excited for them and bring that to the table. And so that verse really encourages me and reminds me that the Lord has a season for each one of us, and the ups and downs are all planned out. So it's not a surprise to the Lord. So giving any of those anxieties or fears back to the Lord, and He'll just take care of it. So it's really encouraging.
I did smear cake on the bride's wedding gown just to be petty, but no, I'm totally kidding. I'm just kidding. I didn't. So I'm trying to think if I've actually been to a wedding of someone I dated. I can't remember. Ooh. I feel like I'd have to go back a little further for that. But I feel like it might have happened, you guys. Maybe I blocked it out. But it is hard. There are different things. You might just be in a bad place. I don't know. What does it look like to fight for joy, you guys?
I mean, a lot of what you just said, Dakota, just kind of taking myself out of the equation and being like, all right, these are two people that I love. Whether I know them both or not, essentially I know one of them. And so they're going to become people that I love. And so kind of taking that off of me. And I'll just say, like, I've only ever had one wedding where I've been able to take a date. I was dating a guy at the time, and it was the worst. Like, I just felt so uncomfortable, not because of the relationship, but because you're always just thinking about, oh, is he okay? Is he meeting my friends? And like, is he getting along with my friends? Is he going to dance or anything like that? And so I've actually been really grateful not to have that person at weddings, because then it's just me, and I can kind of do my own thing. But I agree with you, like taking myself out of the equation and just really being able to celebrate the people and the couple and that union that's happening that day.
Yeah. I think that's a great practical point. That's another thing I would give to the bride and groom is always factor into your budget allowing a person to bring a +1. Because I've been to weddings where they just flat out are like, single people, you can't bring anyone. And that is just so rude. And it's like, because the single people are the ones who want who needs someone else there. Maybe they don't know anyone else. And there are plenty of times where I'm fine going by myself because I know everyone. It's not a big deal or whatever. But man, I've had like former coworkers, and I'm like, I barely know the bride and groom, let alone, all these other people here.
Sure.
I don't know. I just think that's really kind when they make that point of doing that. So, yeah.
Something that's really helped me is I've had the privilege a couple of times actually before the wedding of telling a couple, hey, can I take you to dinner just as a wedding present? And can I pray for you guys before you get started? And that really, to y'all's point, takes my mind off of myself and is just a wonderful opportunity to say, hey, if you guys need me, I want to be here. And that has been way more fulfilling than a lot of times where I'm kind of wondering, does she like me? When I see girls who I'm attracted to, and just to be able to reach out and give. I mean, Scripture is very clear. It's more blessed to give than to receive. And it is. It's one of the most fulfilling things to be able to reach out to the couple beforehand. And wedding registries are awesome. And boy, it is so fun to get a text from friends when you have given them something and they say, hey, we got your gift in the mail. Yeah. So that reminds me, there's a few I actually need to give some stuff to here pretty soon.
Yes,
so a reminder to self.
Okay. So really quick as we finish out, everyone just give, for those who are listening and they might just be like, oh, I've got these weddings, the expense, the travel, the feeling awkward, the whatever. What's your just encouragement to them to think it through, to show up, to be their best selves? What does that look like? What's your advice?
My advice is if you are traveling for a wedding, give yourself time. And by that, I mean, like, I went to one of my dear friends' wedding last spring, and I built in some extra time so that it wasn't just this mad rush of like, okay, now I'm in town. Now I've got to get to the wedding. Now we have the reception. Now I've got to turn around and leave right away. But like giving myself that time, because odds are if you're traveling somewhere, you likely know people that maybe aren't going to be at the wedding or aren't going to be. So like in my situation, it was a place that I used to live. And so I had friends that I knew I wanted to see, but weren't necessarily going to be at the wedding. Yeah. So building in some extra buffer time to allow for kind of me time was really refreshing. So
yeah, that's cool. That reminds me of, okay, so I'll tack on to that. I went to a friend's wedding, a close friend who was in another state, and I went out a day or two early and I helped her with some of the additional wedding prep. Yep. And that made me feel good because that was my time with her. So when the wedding came, I didn't have to be all glomming onto her like, this is our only time together. Exactly. Like she could actually enjoy her other guests because I had my time already and I could just be helpful. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, helpful. Awesome.
I would say for me, I've stretched myself a little thin with numerous weddings in a year, or I'm abroad and they're like, oh, we're having a wedding back in the States. So could you fly back and fly back to whatever country I was in at the moment? Yeah. So talking and having a real conversation with the bride or groom, I had that a couple times, like, hey, I am so sorry I'm out of town. I'm not able to make it back, but I'd love to get you guys a gift that maybe isn't on the registry, but something that would mean a lot to you both. And having that conversation. So it's not it is an and or. I can either come out but it's having that conversation beforehand. So nobody's let down and communication is high and that everyone is informed on what you're going to do prior to the event. So it's not like you're just not showing up or you didn't RSVP. That's cool. I would just recommend having those real conversations, maybe not day before the wedding. Their mind's elsewhere, but
that's
just
cool.
having those.
That's great. Yep.
I would also say that sometimes at weddings, it is hard to have long conversations with people, especially the bride and groom. So it's good to go in with healthy expectations and realize that sometimes even just a quick, hey, that was beautiful, I'm super happy for you, can go a long way. And you most likely are not going to be able to talk to the bride and groom very long unless you are in the wedding and you actually get to spend time with the bride or the groom. But if you go with friends, try to have meaningful conversations. I have had some of the most hilarious conversations with friends at weddings, or just, observing other people who have not met before as well. So you can, there's no doubt you can walk away with some great memories and some great entertainment.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great thoughts, you guys. I am really looking forward to hearing all your stories after you return from these weddings of what happened, what didn't happen, what would you change. So good thoughts. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.